Getting this thing was incredibly fast. So I ordered around 5 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday, December 11th. Then I got an email maybe 15 minutes later that said they were preparing the laptop for shipping. Wednesday, December 12th, I got a notification that the laptop had been shipped, with shipping information this time, so that was nice. And the laptop got delivered around 9:30 the next morning. So start to finish, I had this thing ordered and in my hands within 2 days. So blown away there, very cool. These are the two most recent offerings from Razer, the 15 and now the new Stealth 13. In terms of size, the new Stealth 13 is smaller in every dimension. The new Stealth doesn't have the lit logo on the back of the lid, but that's okay. I think it saves a millimeter or two. And if we're being realistic, it's a little less distracting than the green logo on their other notebooks. Here's your standard options for the Razer Blade Stealth 13. All of them come with Windows 10. All of them come with the Intel Core i7, and then depending on which model you get, you've got between 256 gigabytes of SSD space or 512, and 8 gigabytes of RAM up to 16. And then the other difference is your screen. These are Full HD, this is a 4K, and then the Full HD here and here come with the GeForce MX 150. Pricing on the first is the cheapest at $13.99, and you come up here and you jump to $15.99, and if you get the 4K screen, because you're stupid, like me, you're at $18.99. None of these models really represents a fantastic value for what you're getting, but I think with Razer, that's not necessarily the point. So I've got the 4K screen, and I'm gonna be really honest, I'm gonna say that on a screen this small, where it's about 13 inches, you can't see a big difference between a 4K screen and a 1080p screen. Watching a 4K video on the screen looks fantastic, but I mean, truthfully, when I switch it to 1080p, I don't notice a huge difference. It loses some crispness. You don't really need a 4K screen on the Razer Blade 13 Stealth. That's my opinion. If you're rocking the entry-level version of this, you've got up to 13 hours of battery life. You go up here, you're down to 11, and if you go with the 4K screen, your best case scenario is 8 hours of battery life. So your screen doesn't just cost you more money, it costs you battery life. So the keys are backlit, just like the 15. However, unlike the 15, it's one backlight. So you've got the color bleed coming from under the keys, and you can't change the colors of the keys individually like you can on the 15. Happily, all of the alternate symbols on the keyboard are now backlit, whereas on the 15 they are not. So hopefully they fix that at some point, but I'm very glad to see that feature is present on the 13. If you notice, they cut off a little bit of the end keys here, so your shift is smaller, your enter smaller compared to the 15, where everything's the correct size. The speakers in the 13 are actually really good. I was very impressed. Whereas on the 15, I would say that they're mediocre given its size. The left side of the laptop has a USB port, a Thunderbolt port, and a headphone jack. The other side has a USB and a Thunderbolt port. I like the AC adapter that the new Stealth uses compared to the adapter for the 15. It's much smaller. I mean, this is way easier to tote around with you. The power cable plugs into the Thunderbolt port on either side of the laptop. The bottom of the laptop has 2 fans, which so far as I can tell are extremely quiet, and they've incorporated a cooling system similar to what the 15 is using. I don't think anybody should confuse what this can do with what this can do. This machine is in a league of its own compared to the 13. Just because I was curious, I ran Firestrike on this, and here's the score. And it's not particularly impressive, but given the size and specs of the laptop, I think it's all right. My Razer Blade 13 had an issue with the speakers. There was a lot of static coming through them when videos played, or even when they weren't playing sometimes, and if the headphones were plugged in, it still had a lot of static coming through both of the speakers. And that ended up being a driver issue. I actually replaced the driver with an older driver, and that cleared up the issue. So that was kind of annoying, but there is a solution. Other than that, and then the 4K screen maybe being a bit silly and the laptop being underpowered for gaming, I don't have any real issues with it. It's well built, I think it looks good, feels really good, and it's incredibly compact, so I really like taking it to work. It sounds silly to say, but I used to transport my Razer Blade Pro back and forth, and that was kind of a drag. Now I just leave that at work, but I still have to take a laptop around with me most of the time, and so the 15 was really nice, but now with the 13, the 15 seems pretty big in comparison, so this has been really nice to transport around. Speaking of transporting, if you need something to carry this in, anything that fits the MacBook 13 works really well for the Razer Blade 13. I picked up this Thule case. This is the Gauntlet 3.0. It is for the 13-inch MacBook Pro, but the 13-inch Stealth fits perfectly in this Thule case. And I like the Thule case because it has this little lip here on both sides, so when it's closed, your zipper's not going to hit the chassis of your laptop. And it's fairly thick. It seems to offer good protection, and it looks okay. So this might be a good option if you're looking for some way to transport your 13. If you want something smaller, I think it's a good laptop. It is overpriced. There's no getting around that. And then compared to the 15, I mean, it does not have the same power. As I've said before, it's not in the same league. If you need a workhorse, the 15's great. And if you need something portable that gets the job done, the 13 could be a good option. The only other thing I'll say is it's got the same fingerprint problem that plagues every single Razer laptop I've ever owned, but that's just, that's the deal. Love it or hate it, there you go. We'll catch you next time.